The kid had the nerve to slam his Gucci-ringed fist on my wife's Mustang and say, dead serious, "This car's mine now." I'm not kidding. He stood there in his loafers like he was the star of some reality show and just declared ownership like he was ordering lunch. My wife Hannah barely blinked, looked him over, and said, "You ever driven anything that kicks back harder than your mom's golf cart?" Right then, I knew we were about to enter a level of suburban drama I didn't even know existed. Because here's the thing, Hannah's not your average neighbor. She test drives race cars for a living. NASCAR prototypes, 200 miles per hour, tires screaming, engines roaring. That's her day job. And this Mustang? Yeah, it's pretty, but it's also a fire-breathing machine that'll snap your ego in half if you don't respect it. We moved into this HOA neighborhood for peace. You know, Sunday grilling, waving at neighbors, mowing the lawn. It's all we wanted. We'd had enough stress from our jobs and just wanted calm. But what we got was a clique of rule-happy board members and one entitled teenager named Braden Caldwell. His mom, Sandra, ran the HOA like a throne room, and Braden strutted around like he was heir to the asphalt. It started with the neighborhood car meet, just a bunch of us gearheads showing off our rides in the community center lot. No trophies, just stories and engines. Hannah pulled in with her '69 Mustang, fresh coat of wax, purring like thunder, and every head turned. Braden? He strutted over, looked her up and down, and said, "I want it. Name your price." Hannah smiled without showing teeth and said, "She's not for sale." Braden smirked. "Everything is." We thought it was just a dumb moment until his mom brought it up in the next HOA meeting, saying the Mustang should be offered up for community morale use because her son got a scratch on his BMW at the last HOA barbecue. She actually called it a fair trade. I looked around the room. Silence. Hannah, calm as a still engine, just said, "When your son gets a race license and learns to work a clutch, he can try it on a simulator." But Braden didn't take that well. Next thing we know, he's outside our house with his buddies filming TikToks, claiming the Mustang is his, sticking Post-its on the windshield. One even said, "Reserved for Braden." We tossed it, of course. Then came the formal letter from the HOA, claiming an ownership misunderstanding. Hannah laughed, framed the letter, and hung it in the garage. That night, she upgraded the security system on the Mustang, added GPS tracking, and swapped the tires. I asked why. She shrugged. Because stupid moves fast, and I move faster. Here's what most folks didn't know. By day, Hannah's a performance engineer, but on weekends, she's a ghost behind the wheel at private tracks, pushing experimental race cars to their edge. That Mustang wasn't a showpiece. It was her therapy, her sanctuary. Then came the big stunt. We're about to head out for breakfast when Braden swerves into our driveway, blocks us in, hops out with a GoPro strapped to his chest and says, "Last chance, give me the keys." Hannah shuts off the engine and stares at him like he's a pothole that isn't even worth swerving for. "You ever raced anything without valet mode?" she asks. He blinks. "You won't even get it into second," she adds, then pulls around him so smooth he didn't even realize she'd moved until she was halfway down the block. The clip went viral. Memes, sound edits, you name it. One had him holding a pacifier instead of keys. Another dubbed-in NASCAR pit crew chaos, while he stood there, stunned. It was brutal. But what really got him? People laughing. His ego couldn't take it. That's when the HOA started pushing back. We got a notice saying Hannah's car violated some nonsense about non-standard modifications and excessive horsepower. It read like someone mashed together words they barely understood from a car blog. Hannah didn't say much. She just made a call. 2 days later, a NASCAR transport truck rolled into our quiet little street. 3 Mustangs rolled off that truck, hers, and 2 track-tuned monsters. Pit crew, telemetry gear, mechanics in full uniform. Neighbors gathered. HOA board members faked understanding. Braden stood slack-jawed, and Hannah, in full fire suit, turned to the president and handed her a packet labeled Legal Precedent Regarding HOA Overreach. All she said was, "Might want to read up before your next memo." Now that would have been a satisfying ending. But Braden wasn't done. He challenged Hannah to a race, publicly, thinking that if he won, he'd finally take what's his. She agreed with one twist. If he lost, he'd wash every single car in the HOA every weekend for a month, on camera, in whatever outfit she picked. He didn't even hesitate. Of course he didn't. He thought he had something to prove. Race day was a scene. Braden rolled up in a rented Camaro, wearing a gold-trimmed jumpsuit and a headband like he was headed to the Hunger Games. Hannah showed up late, on purpose. She drove the Mustang herself. No trailer, no fuss. Her suit was black with red trim. She didn't wave. She parked. Nodded. Game time. 3 laps. That's all it took. Braden blew a corner in the warm-up. Hannah smoked him before lap 2. By the final turn, she was half a track ahead. When she crossed the line, the only sound louder than her engine was the crowd cheering like they'd just watched David take out Goliath in reverse. She stepped out, tossed her helmet to the crew, and told Braden, "You got guts, but guts aren't gears." And then, with the crowd watching, she added, "Somebody bring him a bucket and a sponge." And you better believe she followed through. Bright yellow vest, Comic Sans font, Mustang maintenance. Braden washed cars every weekend. Camera on him, HOA members watching, neighbors cheering. Sad music edits, slow-mo scrubbing. It was internet gold. But somewhere in the middle of all that soap and shame, something shifted. He stopped playing the victim. One day, he came to our garage. Quiet. Solo. No phone. Handed Hannah a box. Inside was a torque wrench engraved with the words, "Earned, not given." He asked if he could help. No fanfare, just real effort. She said, "Grab a stool." That garage? It's turning into something real now. A space for kids to learn engines, tools, discipline. No judgment. Just time and truth. Braden shows up sometimes. Still a little annoying, sure. But he listens now. And that Mustang? Still hers. Still fierce. But now, it's more than that. It's a symbol. And here's the thing. In a world full of Bradens, maybe we need more people like Hannah. Not just to race, but to teach, to hold the line, to prove that some things can't be taken. They have to be earned. So tell me, what would you have done if a spoiled teen and an HOA tried to take your car? Was justice served here? Drop a comment. Let it rip. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories where entitlement meets its match.